65% plus of every oral message is visual. Some of us think it's even more. And so it's what I'm not trying to nullify the voice, because that's all very, very important too. But it's the full expression. But we start with the way you look. And some of you, really have problems. I'm talking about you, Rigrod.
Now you tell me.
And so that's what the exercise was for. It was to show you that words by themselves don't mean a great deal unless you bring life and animation to them. And that was the purpose of that particular exercise. And Barbara thought it might be fun for you today to relive the Jabberwocky. And for those of you who don't know it, it's a Lewis Carroll. It's a favorite, of course, and it's made up language. Parts of various languages are used along with the English to give you some sort of feeling. And the feelings can vary, and I use it as, I guess Dallas mentioned My Last Duchess. And good literature allows for many kinds of interpretation, as long as you stick to the material. You get your focus, the meaning from that material. But there are all kinds of connotations that go along with it. And in My Last Duchess, I remember, God loved Ruthie Maxfield. Those of you remember Ruthie? Well, Ruthie, I did My Last Duchess one time at a Southwick. And boy, did she write into me. She said, "You've ruined that poem." And I said, "Well, Ruthie, what did I do?" She said, "You made him into a beast."
Well, he is.
And I said, "Well, that's what he is. He's a beast." And so I tried to show her that. I remember one time at the castle when I was doing Southwick there, I did My Last Duchess 4 different ways, all sticking to the literature. And it's just, you feast on that kind of thing when you're dealing with good literature. That's why your gorilla, that whole impact of it was so much more than just what the words represented. Right? And so that's why we do Jabberwocky. And so that's why we're going to do it line by line. And then we'll go back and put it all together. And I may have to point to you people that I don't recognize, but you wouldn't recognize me either. I'm not who's that guy in the wheelchair? At any rate, let's try it. You remember 'twas Brillig and the slithy
toves, gyre and gimble in the waves.
Right, now I want you to perform it. All right?
Okay.
Ready?
'Twas Brillig.
What does Duke? What does Brillig mean? You have an idea. If I say Brillig, what comes to your mind? Duke, if I say Brillig, what does it mean? A tea. Yes. If I say Brillig.
Something horrible.
Yes, that's right. Okay? That's what it means. All right. Let's see the fake. Hey, Guggenheim, get going here. You got it for. Let's hear you the first line.
Oh, no.
Oh yes. No, I guess there's not much I can do about it today. But anyway, let's do it together.
'Twas
Because, the speaker here is a father talking to his son, other people around about his awful, awful, awful thing. And so it's the scene you're setting. It's twas three. And the slimy toes got gimble in the way. Oh, Mimsy with the boys. What's the attitude you get it?
Oh, it's suspense and.
Yes, all right. Now, if I say, twas pretty, and the slithy toasted gyre and gimble in the wave, all mincy with the borgos.
We're having
And
fun.
home rats. How great. What's the speaker?
He's having fun.
Having fun?
It's an old lady talking about
An
a garden.
old lady what?
Talking about a garden.
Talking. And so, but you see, like Duke did, he subscribed and prescribed, but those denotations and connotations were. And so that's what interpretation of literature is all about. We'll play a little bit more with Jabberwocky, but it gives me a microphone to say that with literature, in my business now, I work with executives and in the old things I did at Emerson for so many years that became somewhat, traditional. And that is voice and artic, that's public speaking, that's interpretation, that's all of these things that go into oral communication. We don't allow our grandchildren to come into our house with those machines. And they are, I must say, capable of oral expression, because that's a law in the Crannell household. And so that's why we always felt so strongly that literature was the way to get at the individual. And Len was telling me a little bit ago about the horrors that he had. And so if I could get the attention away from Leonard onto the material that's being read, all of that works from the outside in. And that's the evolution of expression. And so that's why Jabberwocky is such a wonderful expression. Let's do it all together now. Use your faces.
Brillig and the slithy toves, to gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borgroves, and the monraths outgrade.
Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jumper, shun the frumious betters. Frumies, what does that mean?
Roomies.
The frumious betters.
Take note.
No,
The
I
thief.
What is it?
The thief.
Yes, absolutely, right on target. Whatever it was, you said. Thieves, you would say? Yeah, that's fine, that's good. Where was I?
Beware. Beware.
He took his fork, thank you, sweetheart. And he took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tulgey wood and burbled and came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vocal blade went snicker-snack. How did it go, Duke? Snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with his head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to mine arms, my feverish boy, O frabjous day. Callooh, Calais! He chortled in his joy. and the slimy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy with the board